Oh, and that's it. So what's the biggest surprise? What are clients most surprised about when they decide to work with Joe?
They're going to hear from me a lot.
Yeah.
They're going to hear from me a lot. I try to go out and I stay in contact with, of course, the larger clients more than once a year. The smaller guys, again, they don't need that phone call once.
They don't
a month.
need as much hand holding.
They don't need as much hand holding. Sometimes they call up and they've got some changes or questions. Obviously, that's not a problem. But the larger guys are the ones that we try to stay in touch with for a number of reasons, just to make sure that their numbers that they gave us at the beginning of the year, as far as payroll and receipts, are kind of on track. So at the end of the year, when they get that big audit, or they get that audit, it's not huge. They're more in line of what they projected at the beginning of the year. And if it changes during the year, we up it or we'll decrease it. It just depends on where they're at as far as payroll and receipts. So, that's part of it, but also, has anything changed? We talk to them. Sometimes they'll have something that may look like a claim or a potential for a claim, and that's the other reason we stay there and we talk to them. We call them and say, is anything going on with your employees? Anything going on with the business? Have you bought new equipment? Again, people buy equipment. These companies will buy large pieces of equipment, and then they don't add it to their policy during the year.
Right.
So
and at the end of the day, I mean, the reason, and you mentioned this a little while ago, is your kind of carrying component there, right?
Yes.
The idea of
Yes.
dealing with somebody that doesn't have the coverage.
So I said, what the worst thing to ever hear is you're not covered, and that's why when we initially go out, we try to cover all the bases. And again, when we're dealing with the larger companies, we try to stay on top of it because during the year things change, like I said, and they call up and if they have a claim and we weren't aware of that they were doing this particular thing in their business or they added this to their business. Yeah, the worst thing you can tell somebody is they're not covered.
Yeah,
it's a horrible thing.
Well, and with 30 plus years, you've got that maturity and experience. You've seen so many claims that. Right.
I've seen a lot of claims. So I can walk into a garage facility, or I can walk into a restaurant, and I can pretty much foretell, if there's going to be a claim, what it's going to be. I mean, really, it comes down to the bottom line. What is this claim going to be? And you got to make sure that the customer understands that there's these exposures and that they need to cover them. And then they need to pay the extra money if they have to.
Well, because the risk.
It's
all about risk.
It's all about risk.
It's all about, listen, do you want to risk that?
Right.
So your knowledge, your experience, and your care, and the degree to which you bring that to the table, because there's a lot of people in your business.
Plenty of people. And I try to stay consistent. When I'm talking to a client and I'm dealing with auto insurance or commercial or auto insurance, or I'm dealing with homeowners, or I'm dealing with a commercial building, I try to stay consistent. Again, I've been doing this a long time, so I already have in my mind what I'm going to say, what I'm going to cover, and I've been doing it for so long that I pretty much say the same thing, maybe not in the right order, but I try to say the same thing every time. So when a client says, we talked and you didn't say this or you didn't tell me that, I say, oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, you've got it covered.
I've got it covered. Yeah. I've done this 150 times over, so I already know I told you about this and we talked about this. So, and again, that's from experience, and it's a benefit for the client.
Yeah, well, no, that's it. The experience is a benefit for the client. And because you've got a system and a model and process, you're also a little quicker, a little faster in many ways.
Right.
Probably than somebody that's a little newer and doesn't have as much experience.
Plus, we know where to go, the companies to go to. There are certain companies that specialize in certain areas, and we being in the business a long time, we know where to go and try to get the person the fastest quote. Obviously, with the best terms and conditions.
Sure. So. I mean, that's always the service level that you're trying to do.
Right.